Ray Evernham was born in Hazlitt, New Jersey, and at a young age began building and driving his own cars in the NASCAR Regional and Touring Modified Series. By the time he was 26, Evernham was hired as a chassis specialist for the IROC Series. In 1992, he was offered a position at Hendrick Motorsports as crew chief for a young driver named Jeff Gordon.
Right away, there was just something that clicked between me and Ray. I liked just the way he went about things, what he thought we could do to help.
You could just see it was just a matter of time. And then once he won that 600, I mean, it was just on then.
Checkers are out, and it was Jeff Gordon victorious.
All he wanted to do was build the absolute best race cars he possibly could and beat everybody every single time he possibly could.
Evernham revolutionized the role of NASCAR crew chief with his technical ingenuity and leadership ability.
He changed the crew chief model. He addressed it different. He was a motivator. He was the inspiration. He was the guy that you followed.
He brought a culture of a team. That they had the same intensity and the same drive to see that car be successful as he did.
His mechanical prowess was matched by his innovations on pit road. Evernham's ideas reduced the duration of a typical pit stop from over 20 seconds to less than 15.
He saw that your physical fitness could make a difference. He saw there was time available moving from the right to the left side of the car, in orchestrating and believing in one another.
We didn't care about hours. We didn't care about punching the time clock. We didn't worry about any of that. All we cared about was building the absolute best race cars we possibly could. That is what Ray instilled in us.
It was the perfect driver with the perfect crew chief, with the perfect owner and the perfect organization at the right time in this sport.
Evernham guided the number 24 team and Jeff Gordon to 3 championships in 4 seasons and a series-leading 47 victories, including 2 Brickyard 400s and 2 Daytona 500s.
What we did in that period of time was absolutely incredible.
In 2001, Evernham tried his hand at ownership as he led the return of Dodge to NASCAR.
He could have gone on and maybe won 7, 8 championships with Jeff, but Ray needed that next challenge. And while they didn't have the same success, they had plenty of success.
Bill Elliott joins the list of winners of the Brickyard 400.
Ray had a pretty good way to balance everything out, and I think he did a real good job putting people together.
Casey Kane is a winner at last.
Evernham Motorsports drivers won 13 times. In his time as a crew chief and owner, Ray Evernham earned 60 wins and 3 championships in NASCAR's Premier Series.
When you look at the win columns and you look at the championships, I think that surely makes him one of the greatest crew chiefs of all time.
He's in the Hall of Fame for a reason, and that's because he's possibly the best crew chief there's ever been.
Please welcome 2018 NASCAR Hall of Fame inductee, Ray Evernham.
To induct Ray Evernham, please welcome Ray's son, Ray J Evernham, and 4-time Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series champion, Jeff Gordon.
You know, I think like all great crew chiefs, they sacrifice a lot and rarely get to enjoy the moment and enjoy that success. And certainly Ray was the epitome of that, which also made it such a thrill and so exciting to get behind the wheel when his race cars every chance that I did. There was one particular moment that stands out in my mind is 1995. We win the championship in Atlanta. It wasn't the best of days. We didn't perform very well, but we did win the championship. And to tell you what kind of person Ray Evernham was, I think he enjoyed that championship for maybe a split second before he started thinking about what was wrong with that race car. And he showed up the shop the next morning, the day after we won that championship, to figure out what was wrong with that race car. And he found it. But tonight, buddy, you get to enjoy all those moments all that sacrifice and celebrate this incredible success and career, and I couldn't be more proud to be here. It is Ray J and my honor on this 19th day of January 2018 to present the NASCAR Hall of Fame inductee ring and officially induct Ray Evernham into the NASCAR Hall of Fame.
God, my boys, man, I don't know if I can get through this without crying. I know that's normally Jeff's gig, but tonight it's allowed to be me. And I get it, man, I get it. Wow. It is just impossible to find the words to express what it feels like to stand up here. I've seen the toughest and most articulate men that I know stand on the stage and fight to hold back tears while they struggle to find the right words. And I think that's because when you look back at your career, you realize that there's so many people that helped you, whether they taught you something or gave you a few bucks, a pat on the back, or a vote of confidence. It's like all those people that cheer the marathon runners on. I don't remember everybody's names and their instances, but I want you to know that I'm standing here tonight because of you. I want to congratulate the members of the 2018 Hall of Fame class. It's an honor to be in with those guys. I need to thank God for His grace and for His mercy. I want to thank the France family and NASCAR for having the vision to build a sport like this. I'm really proud to have known Bill Jr. and Ben Kennedy. They were good friends and advisors. Tonight I ask you to join me in having our thoughts and prayers with the Gurney family. Dan Gurney was everything in motorsports that I aspired to be. Thank you to the NASCAR fans. You guys are the most loyal and passionate fans in any sport anywhere. And I also want to thank our servicemen and women of America, because without their sacrifice, I wouldn't have the freedom to do what I do. My awesome team at REE, especially my assistant, Ann Eaton, of 20-plus years. I don't know how she put up with me that long. My longtime partners, Exalta, Valvoline, Ingersoll Rand, and 3M. You know, a young boy playing with toy cars in a stone driveway at the Jersey Shore could only dream of a moment like this. And with the support of family and friends, those dreams can come true. Dad, I miss you every day. Taught me to stand up for what I believe in. My mom, my sister, my brother gave me their time and their support. My Uncle Nick, he took me to the races all around New Jersey where I fell in love with the modifieds. And there's two special ladies here tonight, Mary and Aaron Evernham, that are caretakers of many of my family memories. Married to one for 20 years, the other one for going on 10. Both have been great supportive partners through the ups and downs. Both of them gave me amazing children, my son Ray J, my daughter Kate. Aaron and Mary, you are incredible mothers who work unselfishly together so our children can have a great family life, and I can't thank you both enough for that. Oh, we're going 1975. I towed a 1962 Chevy Nova to Wall Stadium in Belmar, New Jersey for my first race. It was on dirt tires. It was a paved track. I had a lot to learn. But I'm proud that many of my original Wall Stadium crew are here tonight. And then in the summer of 1978, with the help of the Baumel family, I got a chance to race modifieds. And man, I raced with the greats. Evans, Cook, Jazombach, Bodine, and Gilhern. I should have picked an easier division, but man, I learned a lot with them guys. And I got a big break when Roger Penske moved the IROC Series to Tinton Falls, New Jersey. I got to work with the best drivers in the world, and I met a lot of my great mentors. Jay Signori, he taught me so much. Jay is one person that opens a door in your life that takes you to another level. It's incredible. Thank you. And Barb Signori, I loved her. Anybody that knows Barbara, you know how I learned to run a lean program. In Roger Penske's culture, we learned that the unfair advantage was simply just working harder than your competition to find a way to win. Les Richter, the coach, you all know him as a big man, but we looked up to him for a lot more than his size. And Dave Marcus gave me my first job in Cup. Paid me all-you-could-eat spaghetti and a place to sleep. George Fulmer, one of the best race car drivers in America, taught me how important driver and crew chief communication was. And Banjo Matthews, one of the great car builders, I spent hours picking his brain. He taught me so much. And while I was at IROC, I met Andy Petree and Mike Joy, and they would have a huge influence on my career. I also got to work closely with the folks at Goodyear, testing radial tires, and I had no idea how important that was going to be to what was going to happen. So between racing IROC and racing modifieds, Andy Petree calls me up and he says, hey, will you help this open-wheel racer kid? So I did that. And I also built some cars for the Australian driver, Dick Johnson, with Norman degree. And then it starts to get really interesting. So after knocking the wall down one night with my modified, the doctor said, you probably need to go get a real job. And Norman said I was good enough to get a job in Cup. I didn't think so, but Mike Joy did, so he called Alan Quickie and talked him into giving me a job. That didn't go real well, and I ended up unemployed. But the Ford people liked me, and they put me over at Bill Davis Racing with this kid that Andy introduced me to. I also got to work side by side with Mark Martin and learned a lot. Had a lot of fun with Bill Davis, and we won some races. And that got me my dream job, a place that became my family and my home, and always will be, Hendrick Motorsports. I'm so honored and so blessed to be part of that team. I love everybody there, especially the engine shop. Randy Dorton and those engine guys made a lot of good drivers and crew chiefs out there, because it's a lot easier to pass those cars on the straightaway than it is in the corner. So thank you, Hendrick Engines. And the Hendrick family became very special to me. I love and appreciate those that are here, and I miss the ones that we lost every day. Rick Hendrick, where do I begin? You saw more in me than I saw in myself. You believed in me. I was a young, unorthodox crew chief. You were the first person to stand by my side with my son in the hospital, Ray J. You stood by my side when I decided to take 2 tires at Charlotte. He didn't really stand by my side. He kind of paced back and forth behind me, but he didn't ask me to change my mind. He stood by me when I wanted to start my own team. And if he wasn't terribly under the weather with the flu, as most of America is, he'd be standing by my side tonight. I don't know what I've done to deserve a friend like you, Rick, but thank you very much. The Rainbow Warriors, man, they're the greatest ever. I love leading that team. Many of those guys are here tonight, and it's so great to see them. And I'm going to tell you, we had to race the best, the best. Dale Sr., Rusty, Mark, Terry and Bobby Labonte, Dale Jarrett. If you were off even a little bit, those guys would beat you like a drum. The Rainbow Warriors were a real team built on trust, honesty, and respect. I would walk into a battle with those guys anytime. As an owner, I was thankful to have an opportunity to represent Dodge and the Dodge dealers. I got to work with my buddy Bill Elliott. We won some races. And Bill's not only a driver, he helped me build that team. Bill's a trusted friend and a future partner, but I'll let him explain that one to you. And Casey Kane, buddy, thanks for the hardware, man. You filled that trophy case up for us, and I appreciate it. Thank you to all of my drivers and everybody that helped us build that team. I'm proud to say that I went to victory lane with all 3 American manufacturers. And I really want to say thank you to Chevrolet, to Ford, and to Chrysler for all your support of NASCAR and motorsports. Thank you to our great TV and radio partners. I've been fortunate to work with you all. Thank you to the motorsports media. I know you're saying, what? Because I didn't treat you that nice that often, but thank you for everything that you did. It's been a long ride. Driver, a crew chief, an owner, and a TV and radio. But it may never have happened if it wasn't for that kid that Andy Petree called me about, Jeff Gordon. First, I need to thank his mom and dad, John and Carol Bickford, for not only doing a great job raising him, but they raised a bunch of us and have been great family. And yeah, that Gordon's still a kid to me. Now he's married to a wonderful, beautiful lady, has 2 great kids of his own. We've been friends since the first day that we met, September 1990, and I knew he was special. The first time I saw him make a lap, it was unbelievable. He had an uncanny ability to tell you exactly what he needed in a race car. And he could keep more in reserve than any big game player in any sport ever. When it came time to go, he went. I called him the money man, because I knew when the money was up, he was going to get it done. And I promise you, as a crew chief, there's no better feeling than to know that no one else on the planet could drive that car any faster than the guy that drove it today. Jeff gave me that feeling every time we raced. I thank you, and I love you, bud. I stand here tonight before you very humble, very thankful, and very grateful to be a member of the NASCAR Hall of Fame. Martin Luther King said that if a man is called to be a street sweeper, He should sweep the streets as Michelangelo painted or as Beethoven composed music. He should sweep the street so well that the host of heaven and earth will pause to say, there goes a great street sweeper. I read that quote a long time ago, and I realized that the best way that I could pay back everyone who believed in me was to work hard and be a good street sweeper. So thank you to all of you who believed in me, and thank you for honoring my work tonight. God bless you.
This is the Pepsi that your father drank, and his father drank before he met your grandmother. This is the first Pepsi on the moon.
What?
No. Okay, fine. This might be the first Pepsi on Mars. This is the Pepsi for this model. And his mom. Hi, Cindy. Show him how it's done. This is the Pepsi that was right for Ray. Uh-huh. And your Uncle Drew, who is...
still breaking ankles.
This is the Pepsi that's back from the future. And back for one last ride. Boom. This is the Pepsi that Britney once popped. And this one is for the king of pop. This is the Pepsi for those who are forever fun. This is the Pepsi for every generation.
Well, you know, with all the young guns in NASCAR and the average age of the field dropping over the last few years, it's actually dropping more in line with other major professional sports. Major League Baseball and the NBA, the NHL, and the NFL with the youngest average age of championship teams, just a little over 27. And Monster Energy Series Cup drivers edging on down into that range.
You know,
here's one reason why.
Oh yeah, no, these guys and gals over there are having a ball. I've been getting to catch a glimpse of them every now and then. But Mike, the thing about those average ages are, you think about how long a driver can, how long his career
It's a long career, true. Now these little cars, we call them quarter midgets because they're roughly a quarter the size of a USAC midget. There's TQs, three-quarter midgets. It's just a class of car. It's not a social commentary. And by the way, the Grand Marshal for tonight's race is standing to my right.
Well, I grew up racing quarter midgets.
Right.
I think this is such a great way to become a professional race car driver, especially oval track racer. And we have some in the field for the Daytona 500. Joey Logano raced quarter midgets. I believe Kyle Larson, Alex Bowman, several past quarter midget racers and champions.
Everybody's going nuts. Pit road's going crazy. And I'm looking around me and I'm like, everybody's going on the pit road. What are they doing?
I started to walk back to the garage, and then I realized that, you know, there was a huge, huge buzz going on.
The excitement of just the moment in general was so big. You wanted just to go out and show your appreciation.
Next thing I know, you look down and everybody's going across the wall. Every team is just filing across the wall.
When I walked off out on the pit road, there's 100,000 people out there, it seemed like.
It was a flood of pit crew members all going to let him know, finally, you've accomplished what you've always wanted to accomplish. I think everybody just wanted to celebrate with him.
This will be the longest receiving line in the history of celebrations.
So I had 2 shots left on my camera, and I'm trying to play out, what am I going to shoot? I get out there, and here he comes down the line. I had the presence of mind just to lean over, take a quick shot before he came up to me. Yes, I got it. I was there. I got the shot. This was big. This was Dale Earnhardt finally winning the 500.
I remember my hand hitting the windshield first in the A-post and then slapping his hand, and he makes eye contact. He's looking at everybody when he's driving by.
When I got to the car and when he was pulling up, he was still going real slow. That Chester Cat grin that he had was on his face like you'd never seen before.
I'm pretty sure it was the biggest grin I'd ever seen in my life.
That smile was, man, touching his ears.
I think you realized how big of a moment it was, too, and he's trying to see who's reaching in at him.
I jumped around in front of him so he'd realize it was me and that I was there to congratulate him.
I touched the car, and I looked him dead in the eye, He said, I did it, you know, and it's like he knew that this was important.
The world is right. It'll turn, it'll rotate in the right direction now because Big E has won the Daytona 500.
I was like, wow, he did it. He won. I was here. I was part of it.
Anybody you ask, they're going to know where they was at and what they was doing the day that Dale Earnhardt won the 500.
I can remember like it was yesterday. I wish it was yesterday. I feel like he's right here with us today. He's letting me speak on behalf of a lot of people on pit road.
Our lives in racing go so fast, a lot of times you fail to stop and reflect upon what's important in the past.
To have been able to race with him that day, in the end, those memories are what carry you through the rest of your life.
It's one of the greatest things that I got to experience. It's etched in your heart and in your soul, and you can't let it go.
It was a brief moment, a touch, a snapshot, a high five, a show of respect. But that moment will last forever.
Live on the scene to bring you closer to it all with Darrell and Jeff. I'm Chris Myers. Nice to have you watching on Fox. The 60th running of the Daytona 500 coming up. But when you talk about championships like Super Bowl champions, NASCAR champions, Hendrick Motorsports, 12 championships, the most of any. It wasn't too long ago they had Jeff Gordon and Dale Earnhardt Jr. as headliners. A lot of change. They still have Jimmie Johnson, the best of the sport, but now a youth movement. 20-year-old William Byron, 22-year-old Chase Elliott, the pole sitter, 24-year-old Alex Bowman. Jeff, this appears to be a successful work in progress with young people.
Yeah, Chris. I mean, Rick Hendrick is always trying to be innovative, to be in front of the competition. This year, there's a new young look to Hendrick Motorsports, and it's being led by 42-year-old, 7-time champion Jimmie Johnson. I'm going to state the obvious. Got two new guys here. You got a new car. Chase, new number this year. Obviously, that was your dad's number, but you won the championship in Xfinity in that number.
People say, oh, you know, glad to see you're getting your dad's number. Listening to him respond to people, he said, well, that's as much Chase's number as it was mine. And I take a lot of pride in that. I would never be the first one to say that, but I do think it has some truth. I've run the number ever since I started racing go-karts. Mine is just a few races here and there. So to have the opportunity is awesome, and it's my favorite number, so it's a great fit.
What do you think it's going to take to get that win this year?
It's been a long road. A lot of people kind of got the misconception that I don't have that fire.
The bumper to the back of the 24, showing his displeasure.
It was good to see. I liked it. I want to see some more of that in 18.
Yeah, well, I'd like to see less of races ending like that. It would be great. There definitely is a lot of fire. It's always been there with me. Just because you carry yourself a certain way doesn't mean you don't care.
You know you're the senior leader now. And when I say senior, I don't mean just that you've been here the longest.
I have a little bit of age on these guys.
You take these two guys, Chase and Williams, ages together, and you're still older than them. Did you know that?
That's bad news. I wasn't aware of that. Thank you, buddy.
I've seen you take on this whole new leadership role. You sent out a tweet about, you taking the kids to lunch. How's this relationship going to be this year with these three young guys?
You know, through my career, I've had great fortune to have mentors like yourself. And I knew at some point in my career, in my life, that would shift. I wasn't sure it happened at once with three guys, but I vividly remember when I first came in and you sharing things with me that I saw differently or approached differently. And I know for a fact that's going to happen with William and Alex and even Chase. I'm really excited. I want to be better at that, and I'm trying to take steps now to learn more, learn how to be a better leader.
William, I still am amazed how fast of a path since the first time you got behind the wheel of a race car. I mean, does that blow your mind?
It's incredible. I mean, I grew up watching races as a kid. I get to do this for a living now and get to be in a car that a lot of kids would dream about being in.
Everybody knows you're a very good student. Jimmie Johnson's your neighbor. Do you just take your book bag and go to school, every morning over at Jimmie Johnson's house to learn?
He's the best one to learn from. Your help and Jimmie's help has been really important to me, and there are things I have to learn, and I feel like I try to race things that are going to challenge me in different ways. Race some RC cars every now and then.
I think you were up in Ohio or something.
Yeah.
So it's a big event.
5 days in basically a warehouse and -10 degrees outside. Racing RC cars is kind of a different dimension. You're not in the car feeling it. What I realized is that the guys that are successful in that have the same mindset of guys that are successful in any form of racing. I'm pretty green. I just have to keep learning each week.
Welcome to the, by the way, Bill, I should say, Bill Elliott is here, ladies and gentlemen, Hall of Famer. We want to welcome father of Chase Elliott and two-time Daytona 500 winner. He walked over while we were listening in. And first of all, thanks for being here, and congratulations on raising a fine son and a fine driver. He has said, Chase has said, Bill, that, yeah, he gives me racing advice, but he's more my dad. How do you divide that line there when you're around him?
Well, you know, Jeff and Darrell knows it's a fine line. You know, you try to teach them the best you can, and then you try to step back and see how they grow into it. Because I feel like it's more let them lean on you than vice versa. Trying to school them in everything they do, and that's what I've tried to do with Chase. Is step back, be a friend when I can be a friend, or be there when he needs me to be there, and just see how he handles the different situations.
Bill, I'm amazed at how you guys have gotten to this level. I think it's so cool. As a father who has a son interested in racing, I think there's a lot of other parents out there also that love to know, how is that path and how do you go about that?
It's a tough path, Jeff, and you and Darrell both know how hard this is. And the more this sport grows and where it's at today, it's just harder to get there. It's harder to be a part of it. And to me, just go out and have fun. That's what I try to tell the kids young, is you'll find your place as time goes on. If you're good enough, you'll get there. If not, that's the way it's supposed to be. But any of these guys, their careers could end today, whether they want it or whether it's not. And that's the thing that you got to understand is it's short. I said 21 will turn to 31, 41. You look back where it all went.
I can attest
Darrell
to
and myself and you as well. It goes before you know it.
Explosion.
Bell bottom.
This way. That way.
You
Thank
guys,
you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
You guys have too much time in between whatever we do it is that we do.
And that
here.
trophy is heavy, man. You're trying to pick that thing up.
The role should have been reversed, maybe.
Oh, yeah, I said I had to go get the trophy. I had to put it in the trunk. Then I had to tell him which way to go, and he went the wrong way.
I love the look. And in fact, it is getting a little cooler here.
The wind is definitely picking up.
That's the all-new Camaro ZL1. Five-time Atlanta winner Jeff Gordon took the street version for a twirl around the 1.5 miles here.
All right, Atlanta Motor Speedway this weekend. What a track this is. This is an amazing 1.5 mile racetrack. It's wide, it's fast. Coming down the front straightaway here, double dogleg, which makes this track pretty unique. And you're gonna see some guys really paint this yellow line. Same thing down in turns 3 and 4. Really difficult skill set that it takes to get that yellow line and hit it consistently every lap. One of the most difficult pit roads to get to on the circuit here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. You're gonna get on the brakes, but you gotta be careful. The tires are gonna lock up, heavy on the brake, downshift to third, downshift to second, get to pit road speed without locking up the tires and without speeding down pit road.
Post that red Camaro, too fast entering.
It's easy to do.
Welcome back to Phoenix. We're getting ready to go green for stage 2. The 2018 new Camaro is on the track. Jeff Gordon took the street version around ISM Raceway.
All right, well, here we are, Phoenix, Arizona at ISM Raceway. I think that the challenging part of this racetrack that these teams are going to be dealing with, turns 1 and 2 are completely different than turns 3 and 4. Turns 1 and 2, heavy braking, very narrow entry, and then it really widens out so you can get heavy onto the throttle off of this corner. As these cars carry a lot of speed, they'll really slam down into this lower apron. That's not out of bounds, folks. You can go down there and actually make a pass. Pretty unique dog leg on the back straightaway where the car really dips into that, loads up. Now turn 3, really flat entry here. Car wants to get really light. And then this corner is much more sweeping than what we see.
Oh, that was a good time to get out there on track again. I love this racetrack, and I love exactly what we were talking about. The differences from turns 3 and 4 to 1 and 2. A lot of compromise as a driver, a lot of compromise in the setup.